The story opens by introducing a large and highly prestigious high school, widely known for earning the title of the best school for 2 years in a row. From the outside, it appears to be a place of excellence, discipline, and harmony. People assume that students there enjoy a calm and structured life filled with opportunity and success. However, this image is quickly shattered. Out of nowhere, a teenage boy is shown speeding recklessly in a car. His name is Hang, and he is not just any student, he is the most feared figure in the school. Instead of focusing on studies, he leads a group of boys whose main source of entertainment is tormenting others. It becomes clear that beneath the polished reputation of the school lies a much darker and disturbing reality. The scene shifts to a horrifying incident involving a helpless student. A group of boys surrounds him, threatening and blackmailing him. What they call a game is nothing more than cruel abuse. Every time the victim fails, he is slapped mercilessly. The situation escalates as they choke him until he nearly loses consciousness and then shove him into a locker. Hang watches everything with amusement, clearly enjoying the suffering of the boy. The violence does not stop there. The group drags the victim into a recording room where they continue beating him brutally. To make matters worse, they turn on the microphone so that his screams echo throughout the entire school. Everyone hears what is happening, many even see it, yet no one steps in. Fear has silenced everyone. Soon after, a new character is introduced, Seaman, the main heroine. She arrives at the school as a temporary teacher hired for only 3 months. It becomes evident that she is not part of the regular staff. During her first moments, she meets another teacher named Zhang. While they are speaking, the principal interrupts them rudely, making an inappropriate comment directed at Seaman before walking away. Zhang reacts with anger, clearly offended, while Seaman feels humiliated but chooses to remain quiet. Later, Seaman is seen alone in the restroom, visibly upset and deep in thought. Despite the discomfort and tension she feels, she stays silent because she is determined to prove herself and secure a permanent teaching position. While she is there, 2 other teachers enter and begin talking. They mention their fear that Seaman might discover what happened to the previous temporary teacher. According to them, he ended his life, and rumors suggest that he was driven to it because of relentless bullying. Hearing this, Seaman is shaken to her core. Fear begins to grow inside her. She immediately starts searching online to uncover the truth. What she finds is even more disturbing. The former teacher had indeed been targeted and harassed by students, and no one helped him. He suffered alone until he could no longer endure it. At that moment, her phone rings. It is Zhang calling her. The ringtone reveals her presence in the bathroom, so when she comes out, she quickly puts on her earphones, pretending she heard nothing. Zhang then shows her a video that exposes the same group of bullies humiliating another teacher in front of everyone. While watching, Seaman recognizes Hang and realizes that he is the one orchestrating all of this. Zhang explains further, revealing that Hang once assaulted a student so severely that the boy had no choice but to leave the school. After that incident, Hang transferred to this school, bringing his violent behavior with him. Zhang warns Seaman that if she wants to keep her job and eventually become a permanent teacher, she must pretend not to see or hear anything. Silence, according to her, is the only way to survive there. Seaman does not respond, but inside she is filled with anger and frustration. When she returns home, she begins hitting a punching bag aggressively, releasing her bottled-up emotions. It is then revealed that she has a background in boxing, making her far from ordinary. A young man enters the room, her brother, who works as a police officer. She tells him that she has finally achieved her dream of becoming a teacher, but what she has encountered in the school deeply troubles her. She feels lost and unsure of what to do. Through their conversation, more about her past is revealed. Their father was also a boxer who once received a prestigious award for bravery. However, after standing up for what was right, his life became difficult, and he fell into debt. As a result, Seaman had to take responsibility, manage his gym, and sacrifice her own ambitions. Her brother tells her that she is just like their father, someone who cannot stay silent in the face of injustice. At that moment, her eyes fall on a mask nearby and an idea begins to form in her mind. Time passes and things seem normal on the surface. But one day, Seaman witnesses the same group attacking a student named Jin in her class. They place a plastic bag over his head and beat him mercilessly. She notices that the surveillance camera has been deliberately covered, ensuring no evidence is recorded. Unable to tolerate it any longer, she rushes to intervene. On her way, a student named Jan tries to stop her, warning her that the group is extremely powerful and controls everything in the school. Despite this, she continues forward. Inside the room, Hang is threatening Jin, warning him that if he speaks out, his grandmother will be harmed. Just as he is about to strike him again, Seaman steps in and blocks him. Both of them fall, but she quickly recovers and pretends it was an accident to avoid escalating the situation. After she leaves, Hang becomes curious and angry, asking who she is. When he learns she is the new teacher who replaced the previous one, his rage intensifies. Meanwhile, the boy who had warned her earlier is secretly training in boxing at her father's gym, preparing himself to take revenge on Hang, unaware of the connection. The next day, Seaman calls Jin to her office and asks him about everything. He explains that everyone knows about the bullying but no one is willing to help. Instead, they advised him to transfer schools. He reveals that he even went to the police, but due to lack of evidence, nothing was done and the bullying only worsened. He desperately asks for her help, saying he just wants to live normally, and that it is unfair for him to suffer while the perpetrators go unpunished. Unbeknownst to them, two students secretly listen and record their conversation. Soon after, Hang's mother visits the school, celebrating its achievements and presenting gifts to the teachers. However, behind her polite appearance lies immense power and influence. That night, Seaman sits alone, struggling with her thoughts. She wants to act but knows that doing so could destroy her career. The following day, she decides to confront Hang directly. He responds with arrogance and disrespect. Even attempting to intimidate her physically, she remains silent and walks away. Suddenly, all the teachers receive a message about an official complaint filed regarding severe bullying and the school's failure to respond. Panic spreads as no one knows who reported it. Hang's mother storms into the school, furious. Accompanied by a lawyer, she threatens legal consequences, stating that the person responsible could face serious punishment. Jong, however, speaks up, insisting that justice exists and that the truth will prevail. The situation escalates and eventually Seaman steps forward, kneels down, and admits that she filed the complaint. She apologizes, but Hang's mother insults her and demands that she be fired immediately. Later, Hang tells the principal not to fire her. He wants to deal with her personally. In a later scene, Hang and his group confront Seaman in a restaurant, surrounding and threatening her. He tells her she now belongs to him and must obey his orders. He even makes disturbing remarks, suggesting she should become his girlfriend. She ignores him, which only endears him further. On her way home, she accidentally bumps into a stranger. He reacts aggressively, insulting and hitting her. She tries to walk away, but he continues. At that moment, something inside her finally snaps. She realizes that staying silent has only made things worse. When the man attempts to strike her again, she reacts instantly, delivering a powerful kick that knocks him out cold. This moment marks a turning point. She is no longer willing to remain silent. At the same time, Hang was spending time on the basketball court alongside his usual group of followers. What should have been a normal game quickly turned into something far more aggressive. During play, another student accidentally collided with Hang. What might have been dismissed as a simple mistake instead triggered his violent temper. Without hesitation, Hang grabbed the boy and began attacking him mercilessly. Within seconds, the situation escalated into a full-blown fight, drawing in multiple students and splitting them into opposing sides. From a distance, Seaman noticed the disturbance. She immediately understood that this was not just a harmless argument but another example of the chaos and cruelty that had taken over the school. Determined not to let it continue, she quickly covered her face with a cat-shaped mask to conceal her identity. Without wasting another second, she rushed toward the fight. The moment she reached the scene, she acted decisively. With a single powerful strike, she knocked Hang to the ground, shocking everyone present. What followed was complete disorder. The fight intensified rapidly, turning into a whirlwind of fists, shouts, and confusion. Seaman moved with precision and strength, overpowering Hang in front of everyone. Students scattered in panic as the scene spiraled out of control. Blood was spilled, bodies collided, and the once ordinary basketball court became a battlefield. Eventually, the sound of approaching police sirens cut through the chaos. Fear spread instantly among the students and they fled in every direction, desperate to avoid being caught. Amid the disorder, Seaman stood still for a moment, overwhelmed not with fear but with a deep sense of satisfaction. For the first time, she had not remained silent. She had taken action and fought back. Unbeknownst to her, someone had witnessed everything. The same boy she had accidentally encountered earlier saw her removing the mask. In that moment, he realized the truth. Seaman was the mysterious figure who had stood up to Hang. Instead of fear, he felt admiration and relief. He was the same student who had been secretly training at her father's gym, preparing himself for revenge. The following day, the atmosphere at school was completely different. News of the incident had spread like wildfire. Students whispered, laughed, and openly mocked Hang, something that had never happened before. His once untouchable image had been shattered. When he entered his classroom, he found a drawing of a cat mask placed on his desk, a clear sign of ridicule. Furious beyond control, he flipped the desk in a fit of rage, unable to tolerate the humiliation. Meanwhile, the boy who had been training continued his practice in secret. During this time, he learned a shocking truth: Seaman was actually the daughter of his coach, the same daughter who had once been cast aside by her own father. This revelation added another layer of complexity to everything that was happening. At the same time, Jin's situation grew even worse. The bullying he faced became more intense and degrading. His attackers stripped him of his dignity, forcing him into humiliating situations and treating him like he was less than human. They ordered him around, making him run errands and bring them food as if he were their servant. The fear and shame he felt became unbearable. Unable to endure it any longer, Jin ran to the restaurant where he worked. His mind was filled with panic and desperation. After everything he had experienced, he realized that staying silent was no longer an option. Gathering what little courage he had left, he went to find Seaman. When he finally reached her, he was out of breath, struggling to speak. He revealed that he knew her secret, that she was the one behind the mask, the one who had fought Hang. He also confessed that he had played a role in exposing the truth by calling the police and spreading the story throughout the school. He wanted people to know what kind of person Hang really was. At the same time, overwhelmed by anger and despair, Jin reached a breaking point. Consumed by pain, he grabbed a knife he found nearby and ran off with a single thought in mind: revenge. His emotions had pushed him to the edge, and he was ready to do something irreversible. Right then, Seaman arrived at the same location, but she was not alone. Hang and his group were already there, waiting for her. The moment she stepped in, they attacked her without hesitation. Blows came from every direction, but this time Seaman did not hold back. She fought with everything she had, matching their aggression with her own strength. Each strike she delivered carried the weight of everything she had endured. There was no fear left inside her, only determination and anger. She stood her ground, refusing to be overwhelmed. Her fists moved with precision and force, landing powerful blows until even Hang began to falter. Eventually, he could no longer withstand her attacks. Suddenly, Jin appeared, gripping the knife tightly. His face was filled with rage, his eyes burning with pain. It was clear that he was no longer thinking rationally. He had reached a point where revenge seemed like the only solution. The moment Seaman saw him, she understood the danger. If he went through with it, everything would be lost. Without hesitation, she rushed forward and placed herself between him and Hang. In that instant, the knife meant for Hang struck her instead. The impact shocked everyone. Jin immediately dropped the weapon, collapsing to his knees. Overcome with guilt and fear, he broke down, unable to continue. He realized that he could not take a life, no matter how much pain he had suffered. Soon after, the owner of the restaurant arrived and separated them. Seaman was quickly taken to the hospital. When she regained consciousness, she chose to remain silent, refusing to reveal the truth to the authorities. She understood that if the full story came out, Jin's future would be destroyed. Meanwhile, Hang was still searching for the identity of the masked fighter. Before he could uncover the truth, another person appeared wearing the same cat mask. This time it was Seaman's father, driven by his own desire for revenge. However, things did not go as he expected. Hang quickly overpowered him and beat him severely. When Seaman later saw her father injured, she immediately realized what had happened. The pain of seeing him in that state triggered memories from her past. She remembered a crucial moment in her life, the final match of a national championship. She had been performing exceptionally well, on the verge of victory, but suddenly she made the decision to lose intentionally. At the time, her father had been drowning in debt and her coach had offered a deal: throw the match and her father's gym would be saved. Faced with an impossible choice, she sacrificed her dream. However, her father never understood her decision. Instead, he reacted with anger, accusing her of ruining everything and declaring that she was no longer his daughter. Back in the present, as she rested, she overheard her father speaking. For the first time, he admitted the truth that she had sacrificed everything for him and that he had failed her. The next day, Hang began searching for the masked attacker more aggressively. He inspected students one by one, checking their hands for injuries, determined to find the truth. At the same time, Seaman received news that she was about to become a permanent teacher, but Hang's suspicions grew stronger. When he noticed her using a familiar boxing move, identical to the one used by the masked fighter, everything became clear to him. He confronted her directly, grabbing her hand and revealing that he knew the truth. He taunted her, reminding her that she had taken a stab meant for him, saving Jin. Then, in a chilling move, he placed a plastic bag over her head, threatening her life. However, instead of killing her, he proposed something else, a challenge, a boxing match during the school festival. If she refused, he would release evidence that would destroy Jin's life. Seaman looked at him calmly and questioned whether he had ever felt guilt for his actions. Hang laughed, dismissing her words and belittling her background. Unseen by them, someone else overheard everything. Shortly after, Seaman learned that Jin had transferred to another school. She rushed to his home where she met his grandmother. The elderly woman revealed the depth of Jin's sacrifices and begged Seaman to save him. At that very moment, Jin stood on the edge of a rooftop ready to end his life. Seaman ran desperately to reach him. When she finally found him, she saw how broken he had become. With tears in her eyes, she apologized for failing him. He spoke about his pain, recalling how his suffering had been dismissed as entertainment. As he began to lose hope, she grabbed his hand firmly, refusing to let him fall. In that moment, she made a promise: they would face everything together and bring an end to it. The long-awaited day of the school festival finally arrives, bringing with it an atmosphere filled with excitement, tension, and anticipation. At the center of everyone's attention is the upcoming boxing match between Seaman and Hang, a confrontation that has been building for a long time. However, before the fight even begins, something completely unexpected takes place. As Seaman looks around, she notices that the crowd is unlike anything she has ever seen before. Nearly every student is wearing a cat-shaped mask, the very same symbol that had once represented a mysterious figure who stood against injustice. What was once a single hidden identity has now transformed into a shared symbol. The mask has become a sign of resistance, courage, and unity. The story of the masked fighter has spread throughout the entire school, inspiring students who were once too afraid to speak. Behind this silent movement is the boy who had been secretly training at her father's gym. From the beginning, he believed in Seaman's strength and what she represented. It was he who helped turn the mask into something bigger, not just a disguise, but a message. As Seaman prepares herself mentally for the fight, a girl wearing one of those masks approaches her quietly and pulls her aside. Her presence feels almost symbolic, as if she carries a message from the past. When Seaman looks into her eyes, it feels deeply familiar, like looking at a reflection of who she once was. In that moment, memories begin to flood her mind. She remembers her younger self, strong, fearless, and full of purpose. Back then, she was not someone who stayed silent. She was someone who fought for others, someone who dreamed boldly and acted without hesitation. A voice echoes in her thoughts, reminding her of a simple truth: if she does not stand up now, nothing will ever change. That realization reignites something inside her. Her hesitation disappears, replaced by unwavering determination. When she finally steps into the ring, the entire crowd watches in silence. Among them sits her father, observing her closely without saying a word. His presence carries weight, a reminder of everything they have been through. The match begins and Hang immediately launches into a fierce attack. He fights aggressively, showing no restraint as he throws powerful strikes at Seaman. The blows come fast and hard, testing her endurance. In the process, her hair comes loose, revealing her face to everyone watching. The crowd reacts instantly, shocked by what they see. The truth is now undeniable: the mysterious masked fighter is not some unknown figure, but a girl, a single individual who stood up against everything others feared. Hang smirks, convinced that this revelation gives him the upper hand. But in that moment, something shifts within Seaman. She remembers exactly why she chose to fight. This is not just about her own struggles, it is about every victim who suffered in silence. It is about Jin and all the others who were broken by fear. It is about justice. Despite her injuries and the blood on her face, she stands tall, refusing to back down. With a steady voice, she declares that she will bring Hang to his knees in front of everyone, that he will experience the same humiliation he inflicted on others. From the crowd, someone shouts for her to remove the mask. Instead of hesitating, Seaman takes it off on her own. By doing so, she openly reveals her identity, no longer hiding from anyone. The crowd responds not with rejection but with support. they stand behind her. The fight resumes, but now the balance has shifted. Seaman begins to take control, delivering precise and powerful blows. Each strike carries purpose and strength. Hang struggles to keep up as the momentum turns against him. At one point, a supervisor rushes into the ring, attempting to stop the fight. However, Hang forcefully pushes him aside, declaring that no one has the right to interfere. He insists that this is a fair fight, even as chaos continues to unfold. In his reckless state, he accidentally strikes the supervisor, further exposing his lack of control. Seaman seizes the moment and delivers a decisive kick that sends him crashing out of the ring. She approaches him and demands that he apologize to Jin immediately. Even now, Hang refuses, clinging to his arrogance. But before anything else can happen, Jin steps forward. Calm and composed, he tells Hang that an apology is no longer necessary, that he has already lost. Still unwilling to accept defeat, Hang grabs a wooden plank and attempts to attack once more. This final act only seals his fate. Seaman responds with one last powerful strike, knocking him out completely and ending the fight once and for all. In the aftermath, the truth can no longer be hidden. Jin officially reports Hang's actions, taking a stand that he could not take before. Another student comes forward as well, presenting video evidence that exposes the extent of the violence within the school. One by one, the secrets unravel. The full story becomes known: the bullying, the abuse, and even the tragedy of the teacher who had suffered in silence. The image that Hang once maintained is destroyed, replaced by the reality of who he truly is. With everything exposed, change finally begins. Seaman steps away from her teaching position, closing that chapter of her life. At the same time, her father's gym reopens, symbolizing a fresh start. The boy who once trained in secret now continues his journey there, no longer hiding. Later, Seaman is seen searching for a new opportunity. She comes across another school, one that is considered the best in the country. At first glance, it appears perfect, much like her previous school once did. But as she looks deeper, something feels wrong. She discovers that just days earlier, a student at that school had taken their own life. The news leaves a strong impact on her. Instead of turning away, she makes a decision. She applies for a position there. On the day of her interview, she walks across the large campus, observing everything carefully. Suddenly, a black car pulls up nearby. A girl steps out, the very same one mentioned in the report about the student's death. Their eyes meet briefly. Without hesitation, the girl begins to mistreat the driver openly, showing no fear or remorse. Seaman watches the scene quietly, but this time her silence carries a different meaning. She is no longer someone who stands by helplessly. During the interview, she is asked why she wants to work at the school. With a calm and composed expression, she answers that she wants to give all the care and support she has to the students, and to guide them with everything she has learned. As the moment unfolds, it is revealed that the new principal is someone from her past, a woman who once supported her when no one else did. This connection hints at a new chapter filled with possibility. As Seaman prepares to leave, her bag opens slightly, revealing the mask inside. It is still with her, still part of who she is. At that moment, it becomes clear that her journey is far from over. A new challenge awaits her in a new place with new people who need someone to stand up for them. And this time she is completely ready.